What's up, mamas? I'm Rebecca. You're watching the Reseller Mom Show. Thanks for joining me today for another exciting video. I get to do another closet review. So a while back, I had a live stream and someone asked me to do a closet review for them, and I was kind of hesitant about it, but once I did it, even though it took me a while because it was my first time, I actually really enjoyed it. And so I thought this would be another opportunity for me to help the reseller moms out there that do watch my channel, as well as just kind of give me another revenue stream. So what I decided to do was offer a closet review. I wanted to do 3 free ones just to really hone it in, get a process down, get some feedback from the people I did them for. So this is my second closet review that I've given out for free. I have one more that I have scheduled. I'll be doing that one for free. That completes the free ones unless I do kind of like a giveaway in the future, which I probably will. So be on the lookout for that. Probably on Instagram, I would announce it. So I'm going to go through the closet review today, but I do want to let you know how to find it. So I actually haven't created the listing at the time of recording this video because, as you know, mom life, I can record the video now, but I can do the listing later. And so I have a few kid-free minutes, and I just wanted to show you the Etsy shop. So it's going to be a listing in the Etsy shop. So if you go to etsy.com/shop/the reseller mom show, you'll find all sorts of tools and swag in here for reseller moms and others. Obviously, all my tips and tricks work beyond reseller moms. So shout out to the dads and the non-moms out there. But there's lots of instant downloads. So you get the information immediately once you pay for the listing. You get the information immediately. There's a couple things like my mug that you might see in some of my videos. That's there. So those are something that would obviously get shipped to you. Anyway, so what I'll do is create a listing in here for the closet review. And basically what will happen is you purchase the listing, you'll get an instant download because that's how the listing will be set up. And they'll just have some basic parameters in there. And I think I might be able to have you input your email address, and closet name in the order form. If not, I might have to conversation with you through Etsy to get your closet name. Once I do that, then you'll get the download with the information. I'll have a week to turn the closet review around. And what I'll do is I'll review your closet thoroughly, just like I'm going to do in this video, just like I'm going to do in the next one, and just like I do in the previous one. And so you'll have a lot of information that's specifically to your closet to help with improvements. So you'll get a video link to a video that you can watch with your closet review, just like this one. You'll also get a sheet which I put together, and I'm going to share that in this video. You'll get this sheet with all of the information in it as well. So you'll get it in video where I show it, and then you'll get it in, something that you can print out as well. And so you'll get those 2 things as the deliverable. So it'll be recorded. Do know if I record a video for you, I may be able to show it on my channel. I want to have it set up to where if I want to show it because I think there's information in there that will help other people, I want to be able to show that video. If I feel for some reason that I shouldn't show that video, I won't, but I just want you to be aware of when you purchase the listing, your closet review may be shown on my YouTube channel. So just please know that. And then you'll get the Google Sheet. Now, for a limited time, and it's going to be $25, which from the feedback that I've gotten, people have paid anywhere from $25 to $50 for it. I'm going to start my pricing on the low end right now. I do run sales in my Etsy shop, so sometimes, it might be lower than $25. Sometimes it might be higher than $25. It just depends, but it should be about $25 when I set up the listing. And right now I am going to run a limited time bonus where, and I haven't decided exactly the time frame yet, and I'm sorry this is taking so long, but I wanted to get the information out there because I want to get started with it. I'm excited about it, and I'm just really excited to share it. So you'll get 100 shares from me as a bonus from my Mom Roar Boutique closet, which has, I think it's almost at 330,000 followers right now, just as a thank you for being kind of one of my initial people that did a closet review with me. So I'm going to share 100 of your items. If you don't have 100 items, I'll share 100 times from my Mom Roar Boutique closet. And I will send you one of the instant downloads from the shop for free. I'm going to have it be specific and like pick one that I think would benefit the person the most. Or I might just say like this month I'm doing this download, this month I'm doing that download. So I'm not going to be able to accommodate requests on that. I'm just going to pick something that's an instant download and give that to you for free as a bonus, as well as the 100 shares from my Momra Boutique Poshmark closet for a limited time. But the $25 closet review listing will be up very shortly, and that will be available on the Etsy shop. Anyway, let's go ahead and dig right in. I'm super excited to do this closet review. I'm actually surprised how much I like this. So I've put together the spreadsheet, and this is Shannon, and her closet name is Thrift Chicks. So we're gonna go ahead and check out her store here, her closet, and I have all of my notes here. So I'm gonna basically follow the same format for all of them. If I decide to make changes in the future, which I may, there'll be that. But for right now, I'm gonna try to stick to the basic format and kind of go over the same headings as I did the last time. So if you do purchase one, it will likely follow the same pattern. So as far as closet name field, she has her first name in here, which is what it's intended for. However, what I'm going to recommend is that if you start your name field with an exclamation point, it's actually going to put you higher in alphabetical listings of closets. So if people are going down the list and following closets from someone's followers, or in any alphabetical list of closets, yours will show up closer to the top. So you don't necessarily have to do that change, but it's something that I recommend if you'd like to get more followers. I thought your banner looks really good. I don't think you need to make any improvements. That's what you've chosen. There's nothing wrong with it. You can always change it. You can always improve it, but there's nothing of a hindrance here. It just says your name, so that's perfect. For your avatar, which is your picture over here, I think that it's great that you have your picture because it lets the buyer know who they're buying from. But I do think it's a little bit dark. It looked darker on my phone as far as the lighting go. Here on my computer, it doesn't look too bad. I just thought it was a little dark. I don't know if you're showing your middle finger or not, or if it's just the way you're holding your hand, but that's what struck out to me was like, looks like you have the middle finger there and you're not smiling. And so it's just not a warm and inviting picture. And so I thought there was I think you're about the posher. Is it over here? Yeah, like this is even a better picture. It's brighter. You're almost smiling more. Like I think that would be a better picture to put here than this one. Or you may just want to take a new picture. I just thought it'd be nice to have it be more of a smiley picture of you. Okay. For the link, you have your Instagram. And again, I'm not going through and checking out people's Instagrams. I just am making a comment on what you have in your link section. So it's great that you're linking your Instagram. Hopefully you are putting up, fresh things and using that as a promotion tool for your closet. If you're not, I wouldn't put the link. So if it's not active, if you're not doing much with it, I would take it out because there's no point in sending people there if you're not doing anything with it. And I'm not saying you are. Again, I haven't checked. I'm just making the general comment. Okay, so all-time number of listings is 363. Obviously, you can do more. You've been on Poshmark again. Maybe you've been off and on or whatever since 2017. So obviously, the more listings, the better. You don't have a lot of active listings of this 363. So I just think growing your closet in general will help you get more sales because you'll have more active things for people to choose from. You'll probably have a wider array of things and you'll get better overall with repetition. So increase your listings. As a general rule, you should be getting in the habit of consistently listing as many listings as you want to be selling. Now, that's not an exact science. Sometimes you list 10, you only sell 3. Sometimes you list 10, you don't sell any. Sometimes you list 10 and you sell 20. You just never know. But I find that for me, the more consistently I list a certain number, that's about the same amount of sales that I have on a daily basis. And I've had, daily consistent sales for quite some time now. So as far as shares go, you're at about 7,000 shares. And I'm not a big community sharer, but I will say that it does increase your exposure. It will get you more followers. It will get some share backs for you. It just will get general exposure for your closet. So I think you should work some community sharing into your natural rhythm of what you do. For your Poshmark closet. So if you're going to share your closet, maybe throw in 5 community shares at the end or 5 community shares at the beginning as well. and just really try to make a small habit of community sharing so that you get some more additional exposure for your closet, and it's just a good thing to do, good karma to put out there. As far as followers go, you've got 32,000 followers and 2,000 that you're following. So that's a great ratio, right? I mean, I'm not a big believer in that you have to show that you have more followers than you're following. I think in my closet, I'm following like, I don't know, 750,000 people, and I only have 330 some odd thousand followers. So it doesn't bother me that I'm following more people than are following me. But I do think that it's great that that's how it looks for you. Maybe that means you are not actively doing any following tasks. And so all of the followers that you have are from very early on, and you're just getting people that follow you, and that's cool. I always recommend, if you have a few spare moments, you're just watching TV, you want to just relax a little bit and mindlessly click some buttons, go ahead and follow the new Poshers. That's where you're going to get the most bang for your buck, in my opinion, because they're active, they're new, they're excited, they're in the app maybe a little bit more, and so you have more chances of them following you back. So if you are looking to do that, to get followers, to get more followers, I think that's a really good bang for your buck. I also think that I have a video on how to increase your Poshmark followers, and you should check that out. And maybe someday I'll figure out how to put a card. I know how to do it. I just never go back and do it. To put a card in the video where you can click, whatever. Okay, so last active. I wrote these notes a few hours ago. Now I have the opportunity to do the video. So it's showing that you were last active this hour. Before, when I looked at it, you had been like active in the last 5 hours, I think. So it seems like you are at least coming in and out a couple of times a day in your Poshmark account. So that's good. As a general rule of thumb, you want to be in it at least once a day, if not multiple times a day, so that you show that to your buyers. They know that you're active and paying attention to your account. So average ship time you have is 1 day. So that's perfect. I mean, I guess you probably could be less than 1 day. I don't know here if they show less than 1 day. So as far as a buyer is concerned, that's all you want to know, is that you're at 1 day shipping. And I think that's great for getting your packages out quickly. So good job on that. So I keep saying the same thing over again. I'm sorry. It's a bad habit and I need to stop. For closet signs, I always check for closet signs, and always, this is my second time, but I noticed that you had some closet signs, but they were all the way at the bottom. So I'm going to start scrolling now while I'm talking to find them. So you obviously know how to make closet signs, and you had them for some different purposes. So I'm just going to say, hey, you might want to run a new promotion. I saw this one, which was a customer service discount. I saw this one, which was thanks for the 5-star rating, which I actually really like. And then I saw this one, 3 for $30. So you've done sales, you get all of that. So I would just say, why don't you do a fresh new sale? I mean, I don't always have a sale running, but I don't think it hurts to always have a sale running and just switching up the different types of promotions that you do, just to kind of keep things interesting. So it's certainly something to consider, but you obviously know how to make a sign. You've done that, so I don't have to tell you about that. But I will say that I didn't see a bookmark sign, and I'm going to beat the drum about a bookmark sign. I think that that's something that if you don't have one, everyone should have one. It should be right here at the very top of your closet as the first listing, unless of course you're actively sharing, and you can put information about your closet, when you ship, how many items that you've sold, the types of items that you carry, brands that you carry, anything that you want. I have one. You can check it out in my closet at Mom Roar Boutique. And I just think it's good because people like it, and then they can find your closet again, and who wouldn't want that? So I just think it's a nice way to invite them into your closet and to get them to come back to your closet again. So I would definitely encourage you to do that. As far as product mix, we'll just kind of scroll a little bit, and then I'll go through my notes just to kind of give everyone the opportunity to see a little bit about what you have. So, overall, you carry, your basic bread and butter brands. You have some very nice things. You have some very basic things. I think we all have that. So I think you have a good mix overall. I don't see a lot of high-end things. I think you have a good handful of expensive things. And some of those translate into high-end things and some of them don't necessarily. There were a couple things that I thought, and when I say high, I guess I should say more desirable. Like, you may have a buyer for some of them and then you may not have a buyer for quite some time for some of them. So, and I struggle with this too. How can you have the run-of-the-mill stuff and the really high-end stuff? It's something we all struggle with. So don't feel like it's just you. I'm just pointing it out because it's something that I look in my closet and it's something I'm noticing here. I think you need to have a good mix of, your low end, your mid-range, and your high-end brands with things that are maybe more of a long tail and things that are more of an in-demand hot item. Again, those are going to be harder to come by. I totally understand that. And I don't want to make too many bold comments on people's product mix in terms of item types, because you may only want to sell certain things. You may only be able to find certain things. You may only be selling your own personal things for all I know. So I don't want to talk too much about that because it relates to sourcing. Sourcing is a very personal and, geographic based thing. And so I don't want anyone to feel like I'm criticizing what you're only able to get. I just will point out that I think the wider the range of things you have, the wider the size range you have. I noticed that you have a good mix of regular size, but I did not see a lot of plus size. I think maybe 1 or 2 items. And I always encourage people to consider carrying plus size items if you're open to it, because that is a good big market as far as, popularity and things selling. I do well with it and I encourage people to get in on it. Consider the brands that are in parties, in showrooms, and in my What Sold Fast videos and other people's What Sold videos, just to kind of keep current on brands if you're not sure. But I think in general, you have a good mix. It wasn't, there's the Old Navies in there. There was the Inc. International Concepts in there, things like that. So, I'm trying to stay more and more away from those. But, they're in there and that's fine. Overall, you do have a lot of casual items, I thought, rather than high-end or career style, whereas the closet I did the last time, it was more career and less casual. You have the casual things you have. I would not necessarily say they're athleisure, which we know is very important right now, and a lot of people are looking for those kinds of, Athleta, Lululemon, Zella, Fabletics, all those types. So there's something like that to consider. Again, I find it difficult to really talk to you about brands because I don't know what you're able to find and how you're able to find it. So I do want to be careful about that. But nothing too crazy. I think that's all fine. I didn't notice any prohibited items, so that's great there. Now, I did want to talk about your photo presentation. So in general, I thought your photos looked great. I thought, they're nice and bright. It looks like you're taking care of the items. It looks like you care about what the presentation looks like of those items, which is really good. And that you've experimented with different presentations on how you showcase the item. So I think all of that is great. I do like more white space around a photo than less. So it doesn't show that the item is cut off. So like for me, this I like, this not so much. This not so much, this not so much, this I like. So and that could just be a personal preference of mine. I just think it is a better presentation when you are showing the whole item and instead of having parts cut off, because I feel like it just doesn't, it looks a little haphazard, or it doesn't look like you care as much, or it was rushed. And I don't know, I could be inferring lots of things. It could be total my opinion. Tell me to shut up. But that's my thought. So I'm giving you my opinion. And I do think that your hanging and mannequin presentation looks better than the flat lays. So when you have something on the mannequin, when you have something on the mannequin, when you have something on the mannequin, here's a hanging one. This is not as good, but it looks better than the flat lay. Again, that's my opinion. I think some of your flat lays are okay, but some of them just didn't look as nice. I think too, if you're doing a flat lay, you should do it completely from overhead, not from an angle. So here, this is from an angle. You probably have it on the table or something, or you have it on the floor and then you're sitting, and so you're not completely above it. You're at an angle from it. And to me, it distorts what the item should be looking like. I'm trying to see if there is a totally flat lay, but I don't remember seeing one. I mean, this is better. This is better, but it's still a little bit of an angle. I don't know. I don't do that many flat lays anymore, if at all, but that was something I was always obsessed with when I did it, was just that angle. I just felt like it didn't show the item correctly. Okay, moving on. Photo lighting. I thought your photo lighting was fantastic. Nothing to say about it. We don't have to talk about photo editor. We don't have to talk about getting, daylight bulbs or anything like that. Your brightness is great. I don't know if you're using a light kit or you're using a photo editor, but whatever you're doing, it looks great. So, good job on that. For those that are watching, these are the kinds of nice bright photos you want to have. Okay, so I do have some notes as far as the photos in general, for the number of photos and the types of photos that you're taking. Now, I think that you should take more photos of your items. I didn't click on every single listing you have, but I did a good sampling, and most of them had less than 8 photos. So you should have 8 photos if you can. It doesn't mean just take photos to take photos, but like in my system, I do the cover shot, which would be the entire front, then I do the entire back, I do the top half front, the top half back. Most of the time I'll do a top and a bottom of the back. It depends on what it looks like and how much detail there is. I'll do a photo of any detail work, what the closures are perhaps, and the tags, the size and brand tag, the material tag, and also the fabric care tag lately, just to kind of cut down on people's questions, to really describe the item in pictures and let them know and be comfortable with what they are looking at and getting. And like I said, I think it cuts down on questions, but I just think it gives them a lot of confidence. And I think especially on the actual garment itself, if you're not showing them the back, if you're not showing them the top half versus the bottom half, or just additional shots besides the front cover shot, I think that it makes it look like you're hiding something, like a flaw or a stain or a pull or a tear. I think it opens you up to questions. I think it opens you up to cases and issues with buyers in general. And so it wasn't maybe for all of your listings, but I just kind of noticed a trend of a less amount of photos on the ones that I opened up. So that's my note on that. Now the other big note that I have, and I don't know if I'll see it here, otherwise I got to figure out how to click on here it is. So on this one, and I think this is good for people to know, is that you have this nice stock photo here. And I know that you're not supposed to, but I use stock photos all the time. So just putting that out there. There are some people that are never going to use stock photos, and that's fine. I do use them, but I also include my own photos of that exact item, so that it's just really showing for fit and not really showing anything else or being misrepresenting in any way. However, with this one, I'll just open it up here, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you have this picture, but then this is the actual item. You have these buttons here, this V, like, to me, it doesn't look like it's the same one, because this has I don't know what it's called, but a flap over the buttons, a concealed buttons. So I don't know that this is the same item. Is it? And then you have this picture, which I don't think is the same item, because this doesn't have a drawstring and it has more like metal grommet detail than these kinds of covered buttons. So I'm just really confused. I know what the item is, it's this item, but I'm confused by you having these stock photos in there, because I think that's misrepresenting the item. So I don't know what else to say about that. I'm a little sad, because I just don't want you to have any problems. So I'm bringing this to light for you, and for those watching, so that everybody understands that you just want to be careful. I have my virtual assistant help look up stock photos for me, and I always tell her, like, listen, no, that's not the same. We can't use that. That's misrepresenting the item. So I'm pretty much a stickler about that. So that's my note on that. Pricing, I thought overall your pricing is good to high on some items that are basic, like a Chaps or a Liz Claiborne or an International Concepts. I think some of your prices on those were a little bit high. For me, I do price high on some stuff, certainly, and then I price low on some stuff. But I thought in general, a lot of your things were right on, and then I just thought some were a little bit high. Just the basic ones. For titles, I thought your titles overall were good. There were some that there's like a percentage that were short and more simple, and I don't know if you were doing that on purpose. Maybe those are old titles and you just haven't revised them. Let me go back. Like here, watercolor sheer blouse. There was a dress where it just said like the brand name and dress. Moana short caftan. So some of them are just short, and so some of them could have more keywords in there, like color, like size, like any embellishments or details that are in there, shape, fit, length, fabric. These are all these kinds of things. So I did include that in your Excel sheet. It's not Excel, it's a Google sheet. So that you have those to just kind of go over and maybe make a small format for yourself of the things that you might want to include in the future, because any of those keywords are going to help your item get found. So for me, yeah, you don't want to keyword stuff, but I shove as many keywords in there as I can, because I just feel like you never know what that one person's going to call it to find your item. And so you want to put in as many as you can. As far as description length, I thought you had great simple descriptions. I do think you should add some more keywords, like I said, just to increase your searchability. I gave you some examples here, but I do think that your listing should be complete. Again, I'm probably not going to find the right listing, but there were at least one or two where you had like a little form or a little format, but it wasn't filled out. So like you had the headings of measurements, but there were no actual measurements in there. Or it said, what did it say? Something like, see this for, fit, but it wasn't there. So you just want to make sure that your listings are completed. And then, empty fields with no information. And so I would just say to consider making a small template for yourself, so that way you can just copy and paste it over and over, and it helps you kind of stay on track with the type of information that you want to include. Now, there was a note about condition that I had. Most of your listings, I did not see condition noted at all in the description. I'm not a fan of that. I think you need to cover your butt. It's for your own protection, that you know any flaws, that you know any signs of wear. So you want to make those definitely known. But then you did have in one of them a line that said, see pics for overall condition. I don't know if that's going to cover you, because what if they don't see something in a picture? What if you didn't take a picture of all of the things that might be wrong with it? Maybe there's nothing wrong with it, but you can't prove that if you're not noting things. So I just feel like there's a lot of people that do cases for nonsense, and Poshmark is really good about siding with the seller when there is a lot of information that the seller provides to cover their butt. So I put in almost overkill as much as I can. I put excellent condition with no flaws to cover my butt. That's the line that I use. I'd love it if anyone has comments for this video and they want to go ahead and put them in the comments below about the types of lines that you use to describe the condition of an item. I know some people put gently used condition, pre-loved, pre-owned. So I would definitely consider making it known that it's pre-owned, making a note if it's good, great, excellent, whatever. And if there are any flaws, what they are. If there aren't any flaws, to put that. Cuts down on questions too, which would save you time. So just be mindful of that. The other thing, and I put in my thing, you need to include measurements, OMG. So after I made this note, I did see a few listings that did have measurements. So that was good. But initially, I saw several listings that didn't have measurements. And I know that there's different schools of thought on this. I take measurements on everything. I put the measurements in there on everything. I don't wait for people to ask me questions. One, because I get annoyed. Two, because everything's at the storage unit and I can't do measurements. So for you, if you are not putting measurements on purpose because you don't want to deal with it on the front end, wait and see if it sells. And then if somebody has a question, you can go back and measure the item and let them know. That's fine. That's certainly a way to do it. I don't think it's a wise way. I don't think you have enough listings to where you could make the case, well, I'm just going to keep listing faster and faster and more, and if they ask me, they ask me. because you don't have that many, listings up. It doesn't seem like you're trying to do like a volume model. So I did see that you did answer questions when people asked you about measurements. So that means that you are paying attention. You will do the measurements. I think you should just put them in up front. That way it cuts down on the questions, which saves time. And there are some buyers that just won't ask you. So if you put them, you give them all the information up front. It covers you when it comes to any cases or any issues like that. It answers questions up front, and it gives the buyer that's never going to ask you the information they need to buy. Why would you want to wait for them to ask you for information? You should just give it to them, is my opinion. So I'm sure there's different comments and different thoughts on that, but I think you should give them every reason to buy and eliminate every reason not to buy. That's my thought. Next, description, buyer confidence information. So on the few listings that I saw, you had some lines in there that I really liked, and it was basically like, please make an offer, go ahead to bundle and save, no trades, no modeling, whatever. So my note was, great job on that. That's awesome. I think that's perfect. However, I would also add, if you wanted to, that you can heart for price drops or when you ship, if you ship same or next day. And that would just help with more buyer confidence, especially the shipping. But then as I went further, I noticed that you did put on some listings your shipping. So I would say take one afternoon, 10 at a time, open up all your listings, and just make a little format for yourself and just copy and paste those couple of sentences into every single listing. That way every single listing has it, and then make it your process to go forward by putting those same lines in every single listing. That way they all have the right shipping information, they all have the no modeling, no trades, they all have the bundle to save, and they all have offers welcome. And that way you're covered and you're giving the buyer confidence, information, and everything they need to buy from you right up front. What's happening over here? Okay. Solds. I think you should, I said this the last time, and I probably will say it to most everyone, but let your solds be your guide on a lot of things. I'm starting to do this more in my closet. I think for you, it would be more focused on pricing than how you do your pictures, because I said in general, your cover shots look really good and bright. In general, I think a lot of things are going well for your listings, but I do notice that your solds have different pricing than for the similar brands than what you have them available for. And we all want to try to price a little higher so that we have room for offers. That's fine. But the comment I made about some of those lower end brands being a little pricey, or some of those lower end brands, bread and butter brands being priced on the higher side, is more evident when you see the solds, because I think they're selling for the right price. So if you have a Croft and Barrow top and it sells for $10, you shouldn't have it priced at $22 to begin with. And, especially if it's not new with tags. So if there's some that are new with tags, I think that's a different story. But like, Kohl's brands, Target brands, Old Navy, some even the lower end Macy's brands and things like that, JCPenney, whatever, like those should be priced at a I buy it and I go kind of price, like not at a make an offer kind of price. I just don't think there's enough value there. I think there's so much of it, and it's not a do or die type of item for someone to be like, oh, I'm going to make her an offer and see what happens. Like, I don't know. It could be my personal choice, but I just think the pricing there could be a little more accurate. Maybe you'd see some more like I just buy it kind of sales. Last shared. So let's see. An item. 57 minutes ago. Okay, so earlier when I checked, and that's what I put here, when I checked initially, the last shared was 22 hours ago, which was a long time. So maybe you don't share first thing in the morning. I do, 7 a.m., I do 2:30, I do 9:30 at night. And then I do share bursts throughout the day. And so I'm of the belief that you should try to get a share out in the morning. You should try to get a share out at night at the minimum. If you can do one midday or somewhere in the day, I think that would be great. So I think I'm a big believer of 3 times is the charm, especially if you have less than 500 active items. I think for sure it should be, sharing more often because it takes you less time. And so it looks like you're doing a midday share. So perhaps that's the first share of the day for you. I'm not sure, but I do think you're missing out on sales by not sharing in the morning. So again, I don't know the whole picture because I'm not watching your closet for like 24 hours straight or something, but I do think a morning, an afternoon / early evening, and then later evening share is the best schedule. And you might want to just give that a try, even if you can't sustain it all the time, but most days you try to do that. I think that would be great. Answering questions. So I didn't notice any unanswered questions, so that's good. It looks like the ones that I saw that had questions, you were answering them, so that's really good. But I did see, the questions that I did see were about measurements, which you answered, but if you had the measurements in there, you wouldn't have to worry about that question. So again, it's a personal choice, but I will tell you, I think it's most efficient to do your measurements up front. As far as a bundle discount, I thought I had another note about that. Interesting. Am I missing notes? I don't know. I will find that. So I might have to update this for you. But I think you had a 10% bundle. Yeah, I don't know what happened to that note. You had a 10% bundle, and I think that's fine. I think 5% is the minimum, and then you can do 10% off of 2. I always think a bundle discount should be 2. I think that makes sense. I think 10% is okay. I do 20%. I think a little bit more is better. I think 10% doesn't really get people excited. I think 20% at least starts the excitement. And then you can kind of go from there. So that would be my thought. If you are someone that is like, listen, I really want to make more sales. I want to be getting rid of my stuff. I want to be doing this. I would consider upping your bundle discount. Also, I didn't notice this earlier, so I didn't make this note, but I'm not a big fan of the measurements in the pictures, so maybe that's why I didn't go through all of the pictures on all of the listings, and so I didn't see it here, and so I'm saying, oh, okay, you need to add your measurements, but maybe you had them here. So if that's the case, I'm very sorry. I don't mean to criticize on something that's covered. I'm still not a big fan of it being shown in the picture. It's just not I don't think it looks as professional, in my opinion. So let's go back to your general closet, and I'll give my overall thoughts. Here we are. So overall, I think your closet looks good from the closet view for sure. I think that's great. I do think you have some work to do in the details. So if someone just showed up to your closet, I think they would continue to scroll through it because in general, it's pleasing to the eye. And it's hitting all the right marks from the bird's eye view. It all looks good and nice and bright and very professional. I think the photos are nice and they're bright and it shows that you're taking care of the items very well. But I do think you need to take more pictures. I think you should focus your attention on improving your listing information in quantity and in quality, which I noted. And consider revising some of your prices, which we talked about. I do think that you're doing a lot of things right. So, there are a couple things where I was a little bit critical, but I think in general, your closet is on the right track, and I think you're doing a lot of things right. I think that more sales will come when you can provide the buyer with the best buying experience by giving them all the information up front and making them feel as confident as possible in you as a seller from the get-go without them having to ask. And just in how you present the information, like in the listing description. And I think that figuring out your measurements situation and your listing description portion should be your highest priority. Because I think those are two very critical areas, could be in searchability, but also in like the buying decision. If you have someone that's interested in your item, they're going to look further into the description, and they're going to possibly want measurements, maybe not, and that's fine, but they're going to want to see information there that's going to help them decide to buy. And so I think you're hitting the right points on the front end, which is getting them interested in the listing, and I think now you need to do the work on the getting them to buy part of it. So those are all of my thoughts. I hope that this is helpful to you, and I hope that this is helpful to those of you that tuned in to watch this. Again, I'm digging this. I'm really liking doing a closet review, so I hope that it's as helpful to you as it is fun for me. I also think it's good for me too, because it highlights different things. So I'm like, I wonder, I'm telling her not to do that. Do I do that? And so it's kind of wanting me to go back and check some things in my own closet. So for the people that are watching, I think that's why it's hugely valuable, because even though I'm not specifically talking about you and your closet, if you know that you have something that's similar to what's happening here, you can go ahead and make those changes too. But if you do want a personal closet review, because as you can tell, I am giving it a lot of time, a lot of effort, like I'm giving you personalized attention on it. I would love it if you would go to my Etsy store. I'm going to have that listing up real soon. It's etsy.com/shop/the Reseller Mom Show, and purchase a closet review. Again, it's going to be about $25, give or take how the sale is in the actual final price. So go ahead and check that out. You're going to get an instant download with information. It's going to take me about a week to process the closet review, or less, of course. And it's going to be a recorded video, which may or may not be shown on the YouTube channel, and a Google Sheet with all of the notes that you can follow along and check off and make sure that you're doing those changes. And for a limited time, you're going to get 100 shares from Mom Roar Boutique with the 330,000 followers that I have. And you're going to get a free download from the Etsy store. So I hope that everyone will go ahead and consider that. I would love it. I think it would be really cool. Give it as a end of the year present to yourself, and kind of, maybe give you an opportunity to do any improvements in the head of the new year as we get ready to do all of our goal planning for 2020. But thank you so much for joining me today for Reseller Mom content to get more done, make more money, and stay sane while raising kids and reselling online. I will see you in the next video. Like and subscribe, and leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought. Have a great day.